was kissing you with my eyes open, but you said keep them closed.
Hi guys, welcome ladies, gentlemen, Steve Buscemi. Guys, this is the first musical mukbang that I'm doing with my new camera. But let me know also in the comments if you guys like this new setup. My grandparents usually live with me for half of the week, so on the half of the week that they're not here, I film my musical mukbangs in the living room. But due to the fact that they are here and usually they're in the living room watching telenovelas, watching Telemundo, I just cannot be doing that this week, and I really want to get this video out to you guys because I have a lot of new videos coming out and I want to get this out of the way because I do really like my schedule of regular video, mukbang. So it's time for the mukbang. I also have a ring light, so I'm really professional for what? So I don't really know what I have here, if I'm honest with you. I got it from a sushi place. I don't know how to use chopsticks, so forgive me if I look really stupid. Don't comment like, oh, she doesn't know how to use chopsticks, because I know I don't know how to use chopsticks. I'm pretty sure it's spicy tuna sushi. They call it like the devil sushi or something. Something like that. I don't really know what's in it, if I'm honest. I just had sushi for the first time this last week, so I'm kind of new to the sushi game. Never really grew up eating Asian food, but I'm excited. And it's Friday during Lent, so I can't eat meat, so I thought, why not sushi? This week, we're going to be talking about My Fair Lady. So, My Fair Lady is a really good show. I went to go see it when Laura Benanti was starring as Eliza Doolittle, and I just really like that show. But first, let's have the first bite, guys. I'm really nervous. This one is really scary. Like, it doesn't even look like the other ones. Can y'all see? I don't want it to fall. I'm not Nikocado Avocado. Can y'all see? Can y'all see? I hope y'all can see, because I don't know, man. Let me take a bite. That's good. I love fried rice. So I don't really know when it takes place. My best guess is probably like 1910s. So 1910s, like... Guys, I was literally so happy to shoot with my new camera, and the battery died because I forgot to charge it. Let's start from the beginning, even though I already took a bite. Let me take another bite because I literally just used all of my batteries and all of them apparently are dead. That's good. Anyways, so it takes place in London, England. It's like 1910s time, and we see like this London street. Now there are a bunch of like poor people around, and there's a flower girl. She's obviously selling flowers. So as she's selling flowers, one of her flower selling buddies, I presume, is like, hey, that guy over there is writing down what you're saying. I think like maybe he's a cop. So she starts flipping out. This girl's name, Eliza Doolittle. Now she starts flipping out because why is he writing down everything she's saying? She's skeptical. She doesn't know why this is happening. So she goes up to him. She's like, basically the British 1910s equivalent of, Miley, what's good?
A day in the press, Miley, what's good?
And he's like, you speak horrendously. Like, the way you talk, I'm losing brain cells. And I'm writing everything down because I'm just shocked that someone could speak English so disgustingly. And so then she's like, bitch. So then there's this guy, his name's Colonel Pickering, and she basically goes up to him and she's like, do you see what this guy's doing? This is so rude. And he's like, just ignore it. And then the guy who's writing down what she's saying starts talking to the guy, Colonel Pickering, and they realize that they know each other. Like, Colonel Pickering came to meet and talk with Henry Higgins, which is the guy that was writing stuff down. Or, well, they know each other by word of mouth, I guess. So, hold on. Can you ask? I'm having a lot of technological issues right now. So, Eliza's basically like, are we just gonna move past the fact that this man just insulted me? And then Henry sings this whole song, and he's like, I hate that people speak English so horribly. Like, English is a beautiful language, and y'all butcher it every day. Imagine if he heard Woe Vicky talk, he'd piss his pants. And then Eliza's there like, pardon? So she's upset, you know, because they just told her that she speaks English horribly. She's upset, and so she's like dreaming of a better life. She's like, I'm poor, and I'm gonna die poor, and that freaking sucks. Wouldn't it be nice to be rich? Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? You know? And then we also get introduced to her dad because she lends her dad money. So we learn that not only is she poor, but her dad's poor. And her dad's literally asking his daughter for money. So she lends him money. And he's like, damn, I got a nice ass daughter. Oh, and also she basically has a stepmom because her dad has a girlfriend. So then we go back to Henry Higgins' house, and he's with Colonel Pickering. They're chatting about, I don't know, freaking what it's like being British. But they're just chit-chatting away. And then Eliza comes, and they're like, what is this? And Eliza's like, hello. But like in a really disgusting British Cockney accent. Hello. But she's just like, I came because I really took what you said to heart, and I want to be better in English. Like, I want you to make me into a real bitch. Like, she wants to be a real lady in society. And so then Henry Higgins, he's a linguist. That's why he was writing down her speaking English horribly. And he's like, my lessons in linguistics and stuff like that cost money. You're poor. How are you going to pay for it? And so she offers him an amount of money that is like much lower than what a regular person would pay for like linguistic lessons at the time and for him. But because she's poor, that's all she has. So he sees it as like the same amount of worth. Because that's literally all she has. Like, she's giving him all of her money, like every single penny she's ever made. So, you know. So while they're discussing if Henry should go through with this, him and Colonel Pickering make a bet. And this is when it gets important. They basically make a bet that there's like this huge ball coming up. I don't know how like far away it is, but there's like a ball, I think maybe half a year, 4 months, like just 4 months to 6 months. I'm thinking half a year though. And so there's a ball, and like the queen's gonna be there, like everyone's gonna be there. Like if you're top brow, you're there. So basically he bets that he can get her to fit right in. And he's like, okay, I have all these rooms in my house. You're gonna live with me. My maid's gonna wash you. She's gonna bathe you. She's gonna teach you how to dress. All this stuff. Like, we're just gonna make you look and become chef's kiss. And so she agrees to it. And he, you know, adopts her in a way. No, she like lives with them. and stuff like that. And Colonel Pickering's there. I don't know why he's like basically living with them. All the spicy tuna fowl. Can you see that I like can't use chopsticks? Like, they're working hard. He does all these tactics to help her. Like, he makes her put like little marble balls in her mouth and like say speeches and stuff and sentences. And then he's like, if you can say it with the balls in your mouth, then you're doing better. And she swallows one of the marble balls by accident and stuff like that. And she like grows to resent him because she's like, sis, I just wanted like, and she's literally like night and day, day and night, doing these like lessons and stuff. So she grows to resent him. She just hates his ass, really. And so she's like, I hate this bitch. And it goes on for like a long time. While she's getting lessons, her dad's like walking around the street. He's like, where's Eliza? He's looking for his daughter. I think she sends like a letter for her girlfriends like on the street to send her stuff to the address. So they have the address, so they tell her dad the address, and he's like, she's living with these guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Now, usually in the versions I see, the Eliza's like pretty young compared to the Henry Higgins. That's usually how you see it. Like, this is an older guy. So then her dad's like, let me see this. So he goes to the house and he's like, yo, where's my daughter? And they're like, oh, it was our understanding that she had no family because she just came here and like, we like took her in. She was never like, oh, but my dad, like, you know, like we never assumed, like we didn't know that she had a family. And he was like, no, she just has me, but like y'all are kidnapping my daughter. And they're like, I mean, she came here of her own accord. Like, you can take her if you want. Like, we didn't know she had family. You guys can take her. And her dad is basically like, no, it's okay, I won't take her. But since you've taken my daughter away from me, I think I should get some money. So Henry, the wheels start turning. He realizes that Eliza's dad literally thinks that she's like his hooker. You're a hooker.
No, you're a hooker.
So he's like, how much do you want for her? And the dad says an amount that's like a hella little amount, like literally as if your dad was like, do you want my daughter for $5? Like, that's literally basically what it is. And then he's like, do you want more? Like, I feel like your daughter's of more worth than $5. So then he's like, no, I don't want any more because like if I get any more then I'll get too rich, and I don't want to get rich because when you're rich, like, people expect stuff from you, and when you're poor, you can just be poor and lazy and just not do anything, and it's perfect. So they're just like absolutely dumbfounded because this man just asked them if they would like to buy his daughter. And Eliza comes down, she's like, what's up, daughter? And she's like, leave. And so one night they're teaching her, and it's really late. They're really tired. They're just doing a vocal exercise. Well, not vocal, but like a talking exercise. And the speaking exercise is the rain in Spain flows mainly in the plain. And so you guys have probably heard it. It's like they use it in other scenes, other shows, just like as a reference. But so that's what they're going over. And it feels like no progress has been made. Like, it's been a while and literally like no progress has been made. She sounds exactly the same, everything the same. And they're like so tired. And Colonel Pickering is like, dude, I think we should give up, sis. Like, this is taking forever. I don't know what these little eggs are. These little red, looks like Finding Nemo's brothers and sisters. Am I eating his sisters? But so, they're again just going over the exercise. No progress is being made. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And Colonel Pickering was like, just give it up, homie. Like, this isn't gonna work. Eliza's tired also. She's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, and so Henry, this whole show, he's been very militaristic, very speak better, do this, do these. Like, he's very, and then this scene, maybe it's because he's tired, who knows, but he's literally like, look, Eliza, I know you're tired, I know it's really late, but like, don't you want to like get this? Just, you can do this. Like, I believe in you. He doesn't say it as nice as that. And then, so Eliza like is kind of like, okay, like she's finally been shown some compassion, some niceness by Henry Higgins. And all of a sudden she's like, the rain in Spain flows mainly, like she sounds, all of a sudden, beautiful, crisp, Queen Elizabeth could never type British English. So then, Colonel Pickering and Henry Higgins were like, what did you say?
What did he say?
They just can't believe that she's gotten it. So they start flipping out. They're like, period, sis! Say it again! And then they're like doing all her other speaking exercises. Suddenly she can do them. Like, she's just doing great. They're like having a party. They're dancing around. Like, Eliza's dancing with Henry Higgins. She's dancing with the Colonel. Like, they're just partying it up. The maid, she comes down and she's like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? And Henry Higgins is like, period, she got it, poo. And so he's just super, they're all super lit. They're really excited. And they're like, all right, tomorrow we move past this. Because they've been at this step of just getting better English for like a while now. So now they have to move along in the process. So they're like, all right, good night. Good job, Eliza. And Eliza, she's like acting a little funny with the nurse. She's like, do you see that Henry Higgins and I were dancing? Like, he was dancing with me. And the nurse is like, okay. And she's like, I want to go back downstairs and dance with him. Like, I just want to keep dancing. Like, I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep. Like, I'm too hyped. And the nurse is like, well, it's late, so you gotta sleep. And she's like, no. And she sings like a whole song. She's like, girl, I'll never sleep again. She's just too hyped. And she's like, I just want to dance with him all night. I don't want to go to sleep. Big bite. So then the process is moving along. Next step, they've taught her some other things. They've gotten her pretty good. Henry's like, I think we should bring her to like a less upscale, but like what the ball's gonna be on a smaller scale. So there's a horse race, and Henry's like pretty wealthy, pretty rich himself. So his mom's there. And so they go. He introduces Eliza and Colonel to his mom. And she's like, hi. Like, she's trying to be all civilized or whatever. But the problem is that she's speaking and moving all civilized, all like posh or whatever. But she's still Elijah. She's literally talking about like drinking and alcohol. And so Henry's like, bitch. But like, it's okay, like, it hasn't been too embarrassing. He's like, let's just get through this, I guess. Because like, she's having a good time, but like, she is like, when she talks, it kind of is like, what is she saying? And so there's a highbrow like mom and her son. The son's around Eliza's age. And Eliza's just freaking talking about anything, talking about drugs, whatever. And the son thinks it's so funny. And she's like, why are you laughing at me? And he's like, I'm not laughing, I just think you're funny. And she's like, what? I think he tells her like what horse he's betting on. So he's saying what horse he has money on. So she's starting to be friends with him, so she wants it to win. And so while it's racing, she's like, come on, horse, come on, whatever its name is. She's like, come on, come on. And then it's being slow. So she's like, move your blooming ass. And everyone's like, and Henry's like, I'm gonna kill myself. He's like, just talk about the weather, like just talk about these topics, like don't talk about your family, don't speak, don't express your mind, because if you do, they're gonna find out that you're not like them for the ball. And so while they're like buckling down on more what to talk about, how to like carry themselves, you know, just trying to change her personality. And so while this is happening, the guy from the horse race, the son that's rich, he can't stop thinking about Eliza. That bitch is living in his mind rent free. Finds out where she lives, like with Henry Higgins, and he goes to the house and he's like, please give her these roses. And the nurse is like, not the nurse, the maid is like, okay. He's just like infatuated with her. He's like walking around our street and walking around the house, like every time he can, he's like, I love this bitch so much. Skip to the ball. They think she's ready. They're like, come on now. They dress her up really pretty. She looks gorgeous. And she comes out like ready for the ball. And Henry's like, wait a damn minute. She's kind of hot though. And so he takes her to the ball. And he's like, again, just talk about the weather, these things, like just. And then he runs into a guy that he used to teach. And he's like, this bitch is gonna know all my tactics. He's gonna know like what I'm doing. Like he's gonna sniff her out because I taught him. Like this guy is one of Henry Higgins' best pupils that he's ever had. He's going to take one look at her, one conversation with her, and be like, why are you talking like that? Did you learn from this, like, and then he literally asks Eliza to dance, like while Eliza's dancing with Henry Higgins, and Eliza's like, sure, I guess. And so they're dancing, and he's literally having a panic attack because they're talking and stuff, and she's like, he's gonna figure out that she's not like them, like, it's over. Cut to, they're at the house, and it's Eliza, the Colonel, and Henry Higgins, and Eliza's there, and all of his staff, like his maids, his butlers, everything, they're like, what happened? Tell us everything. So he tells them about how one of his star pupils was there. He was so sure that he was going to sniff him out. And like, he almost did, but that he basically like went up to someone and was like, she speaks English too perfectly. I think she's like a spy from like Bulgaria, or like just basically this whole thing, like basically saying that she's a fraud, but not the fraud in the way she actually is. So it makes him sound dumb because he's wrong. Eliza assimilates and like everyone's tricked, and then everyone's like congratulating Henry Higgins, and they're like, you're so smart. I don't know how you did this. Like a couple months ago she was a dumb bitch and now she's like a at this party and everyone thinks that she belongs there. Like, that's crazy. And he's like, yes, I am that bitch. So they're all just hyping him up. And he's like, yeah. And Eliza, you can see, is kind of upset. And then Henry's like, but you know what? This isn't all my success. Like, I wasn't the sole person in making this happen. And Eliza's like, he's gonna thank me for winning his bet, because at the end of the day, it was down to me. And then he thanks Colonel Pickering. And Eliza's like, so everyone hypes him up. And then they're like, okay, bedtime. So they go to sleep. And Henry, like, goes to sleep, presumably. He's like, Eliza, go to sleep. And Eliza's, like, sitting in the living room, like, and then Henry comes back down. He's like, I need my slippers to go to sleep. And she literally chucks the slippers at him and starts yelling at him. And she's like, saying how, she was like, where's my thank you? Like, at the end of the day, you guys could have done whatever you want, but if I didn't pick up on it, your bet would be off. So where was my good job, Eliza? Where was that? Where was that? And then he gets, like, mad at her because he's like, we've been nothing but nice to you. We did this for you. Like, I'm sorry if I forgot to praise you, but, like, I thought, like, I didn't have to. Like, I don't know what you want from me. And then Eliza starts getting upset for other reasons. Like, she's saying, like, what do I do now? Like, the bet is off. Like, you're done teaching me. So what am I supposed to do now? And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I know you don't care what happens to me now, but what do I do now? Like, I'm gonna leave and be on my own, but what am I gonna do? I'm not actually rich. I don't have any of their resources. I'm still poor, but now I'm too rich looking and acting to be poor, but too poor to do anything. Like, I don't have resources or anything that rich people have, or privileges to get a job. Like, how would I get a job? I've never been to school. I've never done anything. I just look and act intelligent, but I'm not. Like, I don't know what to do. And so he's like, bitch, I don't know. Like, stop asking me all these questions. And she's all upset. She's like, what's to become of me? Like, what do I do now? She's like, I don't know. Like, well, think about it. Like, Colonel Pickering could, like, get you a job somewhere. They're still fighting. And she's like, am I allowed to keep my clothes? And he's like, yeah, you're allowed to keep your clothes. And then she's like, really? Because, like, they're not mine. Like, I didn't pay for them. Like, the colonel paid for them, you and the colonel. And then he was like, well, obviously we can't wear them, so just keep them. And she was like, what do you want me to give back? Because I don't want you guys to think I'm stealing. And then Henry, like, flips out. And he's like, you know what, don't talk to me, just go to sleep. And we'll talk in the morning. There's, like, a hint of something there, like, through the whole show, that maybe they like each other. But this fight is just, like, it feels like a relationship fight, but it's just weird. But Eliza in the middle of the night is like, I just have to leave. So she packs her stuff and she leaves. And while she's leaving, she steps out of the house and she sees, like, the rich guy just, like, wandering around the street. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, oh my god, you actually left the house. And she was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I do this all the time, like, when it's late or when I have nothing else to do, because I really, really like you. And she's like, okay. And then so he's like, I love you. And she's just, like, sick of guy stuff. And she's like, if you like me so much, like, let's go out. Let's do this, because I'm sick of guys, like, beating around the bush, like, not doing something about it. Like, let's get married then if you really like me. And so he's like, oh, okay. So she goes with him and she's like, oh, can we stop by, like, this street? And it's the street where she used to sell her flowers. And she sees all her homies and she's like, oh my god, my homies. And they literally, like, don't recognize her. They're like, oh, do you want this, sir, ma'am? Like, how may I help you? She's like, any hope of going back to her life is just, because, like, no one, you know, it's not gonna work. And she's like, okay. And she goes with the guy. Her dad gets married to the lady. Oh, I forgot to make a big plot point. I'm sorry, my bad. So, remember when I said that he was like going off to Henry Higgins and the Colonel, being like, oh, like doing this whole TED talk of why it is like good to be poor. So Henry Higgins was asked to like do a talk in America or something, and he just didn't want to do it. And so he was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be like, I can't do this, but there's this guy. He's like, he's very interesting, like mottos, very interesting, like life thinking. So if you want to talk about life or just to talk, you should go to him. So they literally pay Eliza's dad to do the talk, and now Eliza's dad is rich also. So Eliza's dad is like, sees Eliza all like dressed up, and he's like, Eliza, your guy fucked you up, your guy fucked me up too. We were both poor, living the life, and now we're rich. Now your stepmom wants me to actually marry her because now I can afford like a wedding. So now I'm getting married when I don't really want to get married. I just wanted to be with her and not get married because marriage is messy. And now we're both like, we can't even do what we want to do. And so then Henry and the Colonel wake up the next morning and they're like, where's Eliza? And so they're like looking for her. They literally call the police as if they lost a dog or a kid. And Henry Higgins is like, why are bitches so complicated? And he basically complains. He's like, I have one fight with her and she runs off. Like, what is this? Like, if I had a fight with you, you wouldn't run off to the Colonel. He's like, why is she dragging it so much? And he's like, I'm gonna go see my mommy. And so he goes to see his mom. And when he goes, Elijah's there literally having like tea with his mom. And Henry's like, and the mom is like, oh, like, you can talk to Eliza while I go do something. Try to stick the topics to the weather, and like basically tells him to stick to the topics that he told Eliza to because he didn't want her personality to show. So they're like talking, and he's like, can you come back home, like, please, like. And she's like, no, like, you don't treat me right, like, I'm gonna go marry Freddie. And he's like, Freddie? What the hell is this? Like, you're not gonna marry Freddie, beach. And so she's like, yeah, I'm gonna marry Freddie. And they argue some more. And she's like, how do I know that if I come back he won't disrespect me and treat me bad? And he's like, the same way that I don't know if I take you back if you're just gonna leave up in the middle of the night. Like, if I'm mean to you, then you'll leave. Like, that's how it'll work. Like, I know not to disrespect you because then you'll leave. And she's like, but I don't want you to disrespect me, period. And there's a line where she says, like, the difference between the Colonel and Henry Higgins is that the Colonel treats a flower girl as if she were a princess, and Henry Higgins treats a princess as if she were a flower girl. And he's like, I treat everyone the same. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't put people above other people else. And she's like, no, but like, you treat everyone the same, but the same is garbage. She's like, I can't believe, like, I was gonna stay in that house with you and like be with you. Like, I have to realize that, like, no matter rain or shine, like, life goes on without you. So like, I have to move on. Like, life isn't just you so much. But he's like, I like you like this. And she's like, so I'm gonna go marry Freddie, bye. So she leaves. And he's like, what, dude? What? And he's all depressed. He's like, you know what, I don't need that dumb bitch anyways, but like, I really miss her. And he's like all upset. And so while they were first trying to teach her how to talk better, they recorded her talking, like, before and after, basically. Like, they recorded her talking horribly. So he goes into his living room and he plays the recording of her voice. And he's just sitting there, like, listening to her voice. And now this is where there are variants in the musical and in the movie. Literally, while he's listening to her voice, like, sulking, Eliza comes back and turns the recording off. And she's like, like basically reciting what she said when she had a horrible like voice. And then Henry sees that he's there and he's like, can you go get me my slippers? And like it's supposed to be all endearing because like he's a dick, but she loves him. But it's that insane in the musical and in the movie. But in the Laura Benanti version, and maybe in versions that they'll do if they do a revival or whatever. But now the version is that she comes back and he says that to her and she's like, this bitch ain't never gonna change. She's like, see ya. And she goes off being an independent boss-ass bitch. That's My Fair Lady. Watch the movie if you've never seen the movie. It has Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn's a bad bitch. Let me know if you guys like this new setup. It's probably gonna look better the next time I do it because I'll have my actual camera. It's a good thing the camera doesn't show my stomach because like my belly button piercing about to go. Love you guys. Peace.
You like jazz? You like